Hey guys, and welcome to Pixel Cherry Ninja's channel. I like fan projects, right? I have quite a lot of them on the channel, and guess what guys, I like the Resident Evil games. I like them when originally released on the PlayStation, Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, yes, and I even like Resident Evil 3. And one other game genre that I love is beat 'em ups, right? When I was a kid in the arcade, I grew up playing beat 'em ups, fighters, and to some extent shmups, side scrollers. Well, you know the type of games that are around during the late 80s, early 90s, and beat 'em ups were a big thing, right? So what happens when you get Resident Evil and it turns into a final fight type of beat 'em up? Well, let me present to you Resident Evil Survive. So this is a fan game. It's made on the Open Beats of Rage engine, and it's made by someone called Chris Monville. It's a free download available on Game Jolt, and I will leave a download link in the description of the video. Now, this isn't a complete game by any means. It is currently down as a demo. When I played this for the demo, I kind of got through the first 3 levels. I had a really tough time. I think it was the 3rd level boss. It was a giant kind of plant, and it just took a long time to kill, and I used a few continues on it, and I thought this is where I'm going to end my gameplay for the video. But guys, while I played it, I did have a lot of fun. Your favorite characters are in there, right? I started off playing with Jill, but I moved on to Leon, Ada Wong, Chris, Wesker, Carlos, and even Krauser, right? Wesker, did I say Wesker? Wesker's in there as well. And guys, they play really nicely, right? It feels like a beat 'em up. It feels, if you're used to playing open Beats of Rage games, you'll kind of be familiar with how the combat works. Now, you've got quite a lot of attack buttons. You've got a normal attack, you've got like a melee attack with a weapon which brings out your knife, you've got like a low powered gun, and you've got a high powered gun. As well as that, you have got a special move. You can double tap to run, or you can double tap up and down to do this kind of evade. Guys, it feels really well. If you're a fan of Resident Evil and you're a fan of beat 'em ups like me, this is well worth checking out. And I'm hoping this turns into a fully fledged game with a full story. When you start the game, you have an arcade mode, then you have survival mode. I just went into arcade mode. I didn't even go into survival mode. I was just like, no, I want to try the arcade one. And all the footage you are seeing here is from the arcade mode. Now, currently this is the download that I got. It's available as a Windows package, but you can get Open Beats of Rage working on different platforms, such as Android and Linux-based systems. So there might be a way of putting the files into Open Beats of Rage and it recognizing this and you actually playing it. But what's really nice in here is all the touches that are available, guys. You've got the merchant from Resident Evil 4. You know the guy, what are you buying? What are you selling? He is actually in here. So at the end of every level, he kind of pops up. You grab some items from him. The items that you pick up, the herbs that you pick up give you energy. The first aid cans or kits give you an extra life, and ammo naturally gives you ammo. Guys, it feels really nice. The sprites that are taken out, a lot of them I recognize from CPS2, or even like Naomi, right? Where in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, you've got Jill Valentine as a character, I think, and her moves are different zombies come out, or the zombie dogs come out. Those ones are present in here. Some of the sprites I don't recognize. Some of the characters that you control, their sprites I don't recognize. I don't know if they're done originally for this game or if they're assets taken from elsewhere. You guys can let me know down below in the comments if you're familiar with them. But I mainly recognize them from Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I don't think Jill's in Marvel vs. Capcom 1. But you know what? Either way, it's a job well done. When you start off, the first level looks like the mansion that you start in Resident Evil 1. You can tell because the floor has got that, you know, black and white checkered squared floor, and you recognize it straight away. There's good combo potential in this, the way you start with your light attacks, you get into your knife attacks, and when the enemies are airborne, you can juggle them with bullets. It has a good feel to it, the same way most open Beats of Rage games do. I strongly suggest, if you like beat 'em ups, you like Resident Evil, try this out because you will have fun. You're a fan of Resident Evil and you've got it in a different genre. And honestly, this game, if I was a kid, it's the kind of game I really would have liked around the time Resident Evil was out. Around the time the PlayStation came out and Resident Evil was what I was playing. That's the kind of time the arcade was in decline, right? I mean, we were going to the arcade a little bit, playing stuff like Soul Blade, but overall it was in decline. However, something like this, I feel I would have put my money in there and played it. Now I'm going to read a little bit off the page, of the developer's page on Game Jolt and what he says about the game. So a summary of this. For years, the Umbrella Corporation has developed deadly bioorganic weapons for military purposes. Its legacy was carried over by underworld terrorist organization, but only a group of people can stop them. And guess what, guys? You are that group of people, yeah? The guys that you're controlling with your hands. Going on, Resident Evil Survive is a side-scroller action horror game developed with the OpenBOR engine and based on Capcom's most iconic survival horror franchise of the same name. The game takes inspiration from the Mercenaries bonus game originally introduced in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis with retro-inspired look. Oh, I need to revisit Resident Evil 3. I don't remember that I completed it back on the PlayStation 1. Maybe there was something, but it's been a long time. Maybe that's something I need to revisit. And for the bullet points, it said arcade-orientated pacing, local co-op with up to 4 players, so you can grab a few friends and have a little bit of a frenzy on this. The groundbreaking pixel art introduced in the CPS2 arcade system, and yes, the artwork definitely looks very, very CPS2. Play as the most iconic and legendary heroes and villains, revive some of the most memorable moments experienced throughout the history of the franchise. 2 Capcom special guest characters. I don't know what they are. Maybe you can unlock them. The only characters that I saw when I was playing this was from the Resident Evil games. Then it also says 2 classic survival horror guest characters. I wonder who they could be. Maybe there'll be something from Clock Tower. What's that other game? I forget what it's called now, but I remember it because that character was a guest character in Street Fighter 5 as a costume for Cameo. I think it was something Home. Can't remember, but maybe it's going to be one of those kind of survival horror games that Capcom did in here. So then it says survive waves of zombies, parasites and other mutant creatures alone or along with three players. So guys, that's kind of it. Gonna wrap it up here. If you want to check it out, I strongly suggest you check it out. It is a lot of fun. I love checking out these fan projects, especially when it brings a genre like survival horror over to a beat 'em up. It is just pure bliss. A big shout out to the developer Chris Monville. Really like your work, buddy, and I hope to revisit this and hopefully it turns into a fully fledged game that feels well-rounded and balanced. Anyway guys, be absolutely awesome to one another. This is Pixel Cherry Ninja out.